Hello and welcome to another episode of Unboxing with Paul. And today I'm excited to bring you guys Motorola's Moto G Power, an update to one of my favorite phones. Let's take a look at it. For the sake of clarity, I'm going to be calling this the Moto G Power 2022 version, as this phone has been released several times over in several different carriers. As always, Motorola packaging tends to be fairly nice, fairly straightforward. We're going to put the phone aside for right now, and we're going to see what else we get in the box. We do get a quick start guide, terms and conditions, legal and safety, yada yada yada, and something that cannot go without appreciating has to be that SIM ejector tool. That is a very nice actual shaped and molded SIM ejector tool, unlike the twisted wire ones we are now seeing come from Apple as their latest cost-cutting measure. In addition to that, we also have Motorola's 10-watt wall adapter that is fairly modest by today's standards, not much better than Apple's white 5-watt wall adapter, as well as what looks to be a fairly nice Type-C to Type-A USB cable. And we're going to put all that back inside the box, and that's it. You don't really get headphones, but that's not really a surprise, especially in today's day and age. Let's put this back. And put this aside. So now the phone itself is a fairly nice 6.5-inch slab of plastic and glass. There we go. Now this is supposed to be black, but it looks more of like a dark gray to me, if you guys really pay close attention to it. And the back pattern on it is a textured wave pattern. It's not smooth because the whole shiny smooth surfaces, that's kind of over with. That's no longer really what's in. And again, we have a nice 6.5-inch screen with 720 by 1600 resolution. We have an IPS display. This time around, Motorola has stepped it up while introducing a 90 Hz refresh panel, sort of like the OnePlus has. As far as our camera goes up here, we have an 8 megapixel sensor, as well as our earpiece at the top, and a 3.5 millimeter auxiliary port and a pinhole microphone. If we go over to the left side of the phone, we can see a fairly clean surface, nothing but the SD/SIM card tray. We go over to the bottom of the phone, we're going to see another pinhole microphone, we're going to see a Type-C port, and we're going to see some speakers. And then if we go over to the right side of the phone, you can see me being driven up the wall because we have the volume and the power buttons at the same time. Every single time I'm simply trying to turn it up or down while watching a movie, watching a video, while doing something, or on a phone call, I'll tap the screen button and I'll accidentally end my phone call. I'll turn off my screen. I'll die in the game. I hate it. I absolutely cannot stand seeing the power and the volume button on the same side. I really wish that Motorola and other manufacturers would take note and put them on separate sides. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip this initial setup. It's asking you if you want a PIN or a password for your screen. In addition to that, as always, Motorola has a fingerprint scanner in the back disguised by the Motorola logo, which is pretty ingenious design in my opinion. Now, since we're over here at the back, let's go ahead and take a look at our triple camera array. We do have a 50 megapixel sensor as our main sensor, but that's a bunch of hogwash as it's a quad pixel and technically it's only a 12.5 megapixel sensor. I wish companies would stop saying that, as there's no way this is a 50 megapixel sensor when truly in fact it is nothing more than a 12.5 megapixel sensor. And I throughout me holding this phone, throughout this unboxing so far, I haven't had any fingerprints get on it besides on the screen, obviously. But as far as the back goes, it looks like that wave pattern really does a very, very good job of making the phone stay clean and making sure it doesn't really get smudges or fingerprints on it for that matter. I did mention we do have now a 90 Hz refresh panel, so that makes the screen definitely feel a lot more fluid and smooth. So inside we have a MediaTek Helio G37. I haven't yet found out its clock speed. I'm hoping that by downloading Geekbench and running that test, we're going to be able to find out its actual clock speed. But we do know that we have 64 gigabytes of storage paired to 4 gigabytes of RAM via expandable SD storage, but we all know how that goes. I'm also happy to announce that this time around, actually Motorola went and got an actual Ip52 rating, actual 5.2 certification, which makes this phone officially protected from limited dust ingress and protected from water sprays less than 15 degrees from vertical. So again, very, very nice step in the right direction. Finally seeing Motorola get an actual IP certification, IP rating, rather than saying, hey, we have this water repelling nano coating on it, and again, it's all great and good and it's amazing marketing, but until you actually get that certification, until you actually back it up with a rating, it doesn't really mean much. As far as communications go, we have Bluetooth 5.0, we have dual band Wi-Fi AC, and however, as a cost-cutting measure though, we do not have NFC, we don't have a dual firing speaker system, we only have a single firing speaker, and we don't have 5G. But again, keep in mind that those are all cost-cutting measures that were done so that this phone could stay at a fairly competitive price point. We are currently waiting to see how this phone will perform on Geekbench. And meanwhile, we're waiting for Geekbench to actually download. We're going to go ahead and test out this camera. So, as soon as I can get it going. Oh, that's okay. That's just a picture. All right. All right, and meanwhile, we're waiting for Geekbench to download. We're going to go ahead and test out this camera. And this is a picture on the Moto G Power 2022. And let's go ahead and see. This is what video looks and sounds like on the main camera of the Moto G Power 2022. It's a little soft, but it's not that bad. I've seen worse. I've definitely seen worse. And okay, this is what video looks like on the main camera of the Moto G Power 2022. As always, Motorola phones are very nicely laid out with just a very light slew of Motorola features that come in there. And one of my very, very favorite things about Motorola phones is that if you shake them, the flashlight comes on. You shake them again, the flashlight comes off. Just very, very ingenious attention to detail. Looks like Geekbench has finally finished downloading. Let's go ahead and fire it up. We're going to go ahead and it looks like we have 4 of our efficiency cores clocked in at 1.8 gigahertz, and then 4 of our power cores clocked in at 2.3 gigahertz. So let's go ahead and run that CPU benchmark and see what we're looking like. Just for a little bit of context, I think, 2 years ago, we were looking at not even 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, we were looking at the Galaxy A20. That one had a Geekbench score of about 180 on the single core, and I believe about a 460 something on the multi-core. We're going to see what kind of scores we're running on this. I should start keeping track of that, and I should, be able to have a nice little table of that for you guys here. I'm going to start doing that. We're going to be right back with you guys as soon as this is over. We are finally done with the Geekbench scores, and we have gotten some very, very surprising scores, actually. It looks like we got a 160 for the single core score, which is, again, lower than something like a Galaxy A20 from 2 years ago that had a 180. However, we have a 995 for the multi-core score, which is actually pretty good, and that puts us more in line with I know the single core sucked, but if we go to the multi-core, I know we're still below a Xiaomi Redmi Note 7 or Redmi Note 8 Pro, but so it looks like the processor definitely benefits from having those 4 power cores at that higher clock speed. Go ahead and let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on this phone? Would you grab this phone? Again, keep in mind that it's a starter phone. This is not meant to wow you in any way, shape, or form other than into what it brings for the cost. And make sure you don't miss out on our 1,000 subscriber giveaway, where we're going to be giving out another Alcatel Tab 2 tablet, just like we did for our 750 subscriber special. And as always, thanks for watching.